Hey everybody, it's me, Laura, and today we're going to be playing with some new kinds of cutters. And I got these at Christmas time and I wanted to break them out and have some fun. And so that's what I'm going to do here. I'm going to create some new jewelry using these kinds of cutters. They, I want to say they're Kyoker, but probably not. When I went back to look, it didn't look like it was that brand. But anyways, I'm going to have a link to these cutters on the description area inside this video, so check for that. Anyways, I'm taking some gray clay here and I'm rolling this out, and I want to say I had to do this on a number 1 setting. Now, normally and naturally I wouldn't have my jewelry or my clay this thick, but part of this was due to the cutter itself. The cutters were not made to go down like on, say, okay, so on a number 1 on my Atlas machine, they work perfectly fine. And this is because the image on the inside of that cutter is it's only raised. It doesn't cut all the way through. So if I thin out that clay down to a number 2, it will give you an impression. It's not as deep, but it will give you an impression. However, if you go to a number 3, it disappears entirely. So as you can tell here, I've gone and cut out one of these images in the clay, and I've cut them into 4 pieces here. So I've cut it in half, and then I've cut it in half again. And the reason for that is, normally they show, you make an earring out of this one piece. And I'm like going, well, that's boring. Isn't that terrible of me? It's just, well, that's boring. But I can't help it. I'm like going, no, let's have some fun with this. So I decided, let's go ahead and take that image and cut it into 4 pieces. And so I'm going to take my other cutter and we're going to do the same kind of thing. I thought, let's use it in quarters, see what we can get from it. And then I'm also going to take these same cutters, make a couple more of these, imprinted images in the clay, and then just cut them in half. I really want to experiment with just a portion of the design, because to me sometimes, what can I say? I just think that you get a lot more fun when it's not the entire pattern. All right, so now I'm going to go ahead and bring in that color shift metallic paint, and this is the emerald one. And I just wanted to play with it and just see what would happen. I have been so enthralled with my color shift and my metallic paints. I can't get away from them. I'm like going, okay, no, I'm not going back to painting ever, like ever. I love the clay too much. But what I'm trying to say here is sometimes those metallic paints are so fun to play with. And in this sense, it's wonderful because you could take just a crazy plain gray like I have right here. You add in that metallic paint and it just sings. Again here, I had to go ahead and cut out some more of these shapes, and I had to go ahead and cut them into 4s again because I had so much fun with the green that I still have to do one in blue. So that's pretty much what I'm going to be doing here. Otherwise from that, I'll let you guys just watch my hands talk, and then I'll catch up with you here in a little bit. All right, so here I'm going to bring in that color shift, that blue flash, and these are just halves now. I decided, I did enough of the quarters. Let's go ahead and do a few halves, paint them up, and then let's see what we can come up with when we combine our halves that I'm doing in the blue here and with our greens and the different combinations of jewelry we can get. All right, so I'm going to start working on a pair of earrings here, but before I started doing this, you're going to start looking at kind of me just thinking off the top of my head here when I'm going and making this stuff. I decided, I liked that one cutter that I had done with the greens and the blues, but that's not the set, or I should say the cutter I decided to go with. In fact, I decided, let's go ahead and try this other one instead. I don't know, I just like the design better or something. Anyways, I went ahead, I cut out 2 of these, and I was, the thing is though, that cutter really got sticky. You really need to make sure you either put baby powder or cornstarch. Now, I do know that some people say the baby powder, not such a great thing to use as a release agent, but instead they'd rather say you use cornstarch, so do that if you want to be on the safe side. I just happen to have baby powder with me, so that's what I was using. Okay, so I was thinking about it and I thought, no, let's go ahead, let's cut this thing in half. I can't help it. I got to have something other than just a full centerpiece. So I took the centerpiece out. I thought, let's just work with the two halves for right now. And from here, let's go ahead and bring in that emerald flash once more. And I don't know, I just couldn't quite get past that emerald flash. So I painted up these halves in that green. Once I did that, I thought, let's go ahead and use some of those quarter pieces in the blue, and let's make our first set of earrings. All right, now that I got those two pieces together, the way I want with the clay, I'm bringing in I had some leftover rhinestone pieces, and I thought, let's go ahead and use these in the design. They seem to work well together, just as, I don't know, there was something about the form. I think that's really what it falls into. I loved the form of these rhinestone pieces, and I thought, all it would take is two of them, and it really would complete up this particular set of earrings where I wouldn't have to do too much more. I did add in some little black dots of clay where I then put in some singular rhinestones, and I really loved the look of it. I was contemplating silver, but I thought, no, let's go with some black. We need to really have a nice contrast here. And as you could tell, these balls were about 1/8 of an inch in diameter, and I put two on either side and then one in the center. As you can tell here, I'm going to start bringing in my knitting needles, and I'm going to make little indents in the balls where I can then insert a singular rhinestone into each little piece. This will add a little bit of extra flash to these earrings. And then once I have that done, I went ahead and baked this. Now, once I get that baked, it's not completely glued in, so what you need to do is you need to also back this. And in backing this with some black clay that's done on a number 4 setting on your Atlas pasta machine, what it's going to do is it's going to act as a nice finished backing for your piece. Now these particular ones did not need, what can I say? Did not need an eye pin to help hang it for the earring pieces, for the earring findings. So instead, the rhinestone piece itself had that. Which was very convenient. Sometimes I get lucky like that and I get some jewelry. I'm like, oh, that works. It's got a hole in it already. I don't have to worry about it. So right here again, I'm bringing in the super glue. I'm gluing these pieces down, and I'm just finalizing up until I get the set of earrings I need. So right here I had finished up my earrings, and now I'm just going to go ahead and put it in its packaging. All right, my next set of jewelry is going to be with the green painted type. So I really love that green metallic. That emerald metallic is just beautiful. And so I was looking through some of my jewelry. I was looking at that set of earrings. I had some extra stuff, but I wound up going to this particular piece. And part of this is I needed something that would be a nice centerpiece, but it wouldn't take away from the clay and what I had done to it. So I decided to take one of those little circular pieces and then use some of these little, they were just little rhinestones with the little holes on either side, and it seemed to work out great. So I brought in some black and white checker here, or I should say it was from a black and white stack. I went ahead and cut off a couple of pieces so I can make the checker, and then we're going to place that up against that green. And I really thought this might be the way to go. I mean, I was experimenting here. I was like, maybe this will work. Well, maybe that'll work. Well, and you just kind of pick and choose. Sometimes it's hard because I feel like I have a smorgasbord in front of me, and I'm like, well, do I want the caviar or do I want the pineapple? And I know that makes absolutely no sense, but that's where my mind goes. All right, so at this point I was like, okay, I didn't like the bottom part with the blue, so I took that off, took off the little rhinestone bit, had the black and white checker, and then eventually I took the checker out too. I thought, okay, that's not doing it for me either. I eventually settled on the metal metallic piece, that round circular piece, and I started making some black leaves. And I really there's something about when I do my black leaves, it brings a sense of calm. I seem to find my way with it. And it also brings about, this is a circular piece. And when I wind up with a circular piece, I like to have something else that is not circular tied into it to give it a different dynamic. And that's why I like to go to my leaves here. And even when they're black, it just, like I said, it gives it a different dynamic. Okay, so this piece, the center, I should say the pendant piece, is really starting to come along here. And, I thought we'll put in one more of those rhinestone pieces. Once I had that in, I thought, yep, this is it, this will work. From here, we're going to go ahead and I'm going to start making some matching earrings to this particular pendant. Okay, so right here I'm taking this green piece and I'm going to back it onto some black clay. I have another piece down on the black clay that I had also done earlier, but I thought we'll just go ahead and throw it on with it. Get as much as I can in the oven so I can go ahead and get it baked so we can get this all finished up. But from here, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I finish up this set of jewelry, and then we'll move on to the next and last piece. So my last set of jewelry really wound up being my largest pendant piece, and I want to say very, very different earrings. They didn't quite lay the way I was thinking they were going to. And it was only because of the way I had placed the eye pins and where I had placed them. You know, I sometimes forget that when I put an eye pin in, I really need to remember that that's the point at where everything else will drop away from it, and that it won't be sitting, how you say, upright? I don't know how else to put it. You know, it's just, but at the same time though too, when I did it, it was rather interesting. So I thought, let's go with it. We'll just keep it real and have fun with this. I again brought in my black and white checker, and I thought this could be kind of fun. And I did use it in the main piece here. I used my black and white checker. I didn't change it out or anything like that. What I didn't realize when I went about making this was that I was off by a little bit. So when I went ahead to try and finish it and center it, my centering was off by just a little. That sometimes happens. Hey, what can I say? I make mistakes too. But at the same time, I loved the piece. It still turned out pretty. I will say though, I did come in and I did use a little bit of my rhinestone jewelry here. I thought maybe that would help it a little bit. And then to even make matters worse or better, I know it's up to you. Whatever you guys think. I brought in some blue and green checker and placed that on top of the black and white. Because when I trimmed that black and white up, it just looked like it was off by a little bit on one side. Now, maybe you don't see that, but in my mind, I thought it's a little long on the one end. I should have moved my blue half circle on top over a little bit, and I would have been just fine. I just didn't think about it. It was just like, okay, whatever. And see here, I brought in my blue and my green then. But I thought, we'll have fun with it. We'll see what happens with it. And right after that, I decided to bring in my black clay, made some small balls, made some indents in them for rhinestones, and that way then the piece would wind up the way it was. From here though, I decided to keep that blue and green checker, or I should say from a stack, and I made some more checker of that, and that will go into the earrings. But again, I'm going to go ahead and let you guys watch my hands talk as I finish up this last set of jewelry. All right, so this is the end result in creating my 3 sets of jewelry using those boho cutters. Please use this for study and reference. And if you guys like this video, please like, subscribe, and leave me a comment. I'm always wondering what you're thinking. Otherwise, I am sending out my biggest hugs to each of you, and I hope you have a fantastic day.